Hey everyone, Terry Moran with ABC News here in London on Southwark Street, just a few blocks away down there from Borough Market and beyond that London Bridge, the scene about 4 hours ago now of a horrific terror attack using the low-tech, high-terror tools that so many cities have been confronted with. A vehicle, a large white van, going off the road on the London Bridge, heading south, plowing into pedestrians. Casualties there, we are told, and then Metropolitan Police are saying at least 3 men leaving that vehicle, armed, eyewitnesses say, with long knives, and descending apparently into the Borough Market. This is a famous, world-famous food market and place of restaurants and nightlife. It is really a very popular and unique place in London. On a Saturday night, it would be full of people enjoying themselves on an English summer night. And in that moment, they were attacked by at least 3 men with long knives, many casualties there. Then, following that, apparently there were gunshots, police confirming that, eyewitnesses saying that it looked as if the police were managing to take down at least one of the attackers. This coming in a city and at a time of terror in Britain and across Europe. Just a couple of weeks ago in Manchester, the horrific bombing at the Ariana Grande concert. Before that in March, just a few blocks from here at Westminster Bridge, where there was a vehicle coming off the road and then a stabbing of a police officer right at the doors, the gates of the halls of Parliament. It is a fact of life in London and in Europe and in Britain more broadly. How do people deal with that? That's really one of the questions. Well, first, before we get to that, this situation is not officially over. We are at a police perimeter, which is still being strictly enforced. We see police vehicles and emergency vehicles, ambulances, still heading down to the scene of the attack, and we have helicopters overhead. But the feeling here is that it is not an active situation. If it were, I guarantee you there would be more police officers. We would probably be farther back. They are going through what was the scene of these twin attacks, the vehicle attack followed by the knife attack. So what does this mean for the people of Britain? First, they are once again going through the period of grief, of shock, of horror, of rage, of mourning the victims of a terror attack, and then afterwards reckoning how do you stop it. But as I say, these low technology attacks, long knives, a vehicle, things you cannot ban, things you cannot even really register or police with any great efficiency, being used to inflict tremendous carnage and terror on a city. There's no question that this is going to stir people's anger, and this is right on the eve of a general election here in Britain, with Prime Minister Theresa May standing, as they say here, running for a term of her own. She was elected by the Conservative Party after the Brexit vote. This will play right into that election. How so remains to be seen, but at some point, there's no question that people in this city, in this country, and in other countries in Europe are going to demand greater safety from even these kinds of attacks. Already we have seen a stirring of right-wing and very extreme responses to these attacks. But it is a problem that is bitter and deep and abiding in these countries. So once again, right now, what we have is a police perimeter which is being enforced still, a situation that remains ongoing, but it looks as if it is right now under control. There may still be attackers on the loose, however. Police said at least 3 men emerged from the vehicle that attacked on London Bridge to attack the Borough Market, and so it may be that they are still on the hunt for others. Several of the London Underground, the subway stations around this area, have been shut down. Another sign that they are going through this area trying to determine what, if any, threats remain to the general public. One final note. This is the heart of London, a great city, a world city, on a Saturday night when people are out, just as they were in Paris when the Bataclan and the cafes were attacked, at their happiest, at their most urban. This is why people live in cities, to live in places like this, to come to places like Borough Market, and to be the focus of such a slaughter, of such a level of hatred and violence is what life has become in many cities here. The British have a famous stiff upper lip, and certainly will soldier through, as I saw in Manchester just a couple of weeks ago, as I saw in London at Westminster Bridge, and going all the way back to the 7/7 attacks more than a decade ago. But there's no question that at some point this is going to tax the democracy here, as people try and figure out how to keep themselves safe from these kinds of attacks. This is Terry Moran in London just a few hours after the London Bridge and Borough Market attacks.